And everyone listening and watching, if you want to get real value, be an active participant here. I'm going to ask you 10 simple questions. You're going to rank yourself 1 to 5. 5 is like an A, you're crushing it. 1 is like an F, you're failing. Okay, it wasn't much for school, but I do know the grading scale, right? So you kind of subsequently 2, 3, and 4, you can figure it out. But I want you guys to take notes, and we're going to tally up your scores at the end. So this is the first step, Luke, just to answer your question. In order to grow, you need to know. So I want to know your guys' scores. And everyone listening and watching, I'm telling you, please, whether you're on the dang treadmill, you're driving, whatever, be safe if you're driving, but take notes on these 10 different scores. This is the whole premise of the Happy Hustle, our 10 alignments, okay? And this is our soul mapping framework. This is your soul's map to the blissfully balanced promised land.
Cary Jack, welcome to the Book Thinkers Life-Changing Books podcast. We are going to jump right into it. You just put out the Happy Hustle version 2.0, and I'd like you to comment on this dedication. I'm going to read it, and then we'll jump in and get your reaction. So it says, dedicated truly to you. I pray this helps you systematically harmonize your ambition and well-being so you can put the happy in your everyday hustle. Tell us a little bit about that dedication, man. I love it.
All right. Well, the Happy Hustle definition is the systematic harmonization of ambition and well-being. So I felt that it had to be there in the beginning, because that's truly the goal of the book, is to help people who, yes, are ambitious, like go-getters, type A driven, want to accomplish big things like Luke and Nick here, but also they want to maintain their well-being and, like be a great father and husband and, brother and friend. I mean, or, whatever you could say, wife or sister, whatever. It doesn't matter, gender roles here. But the point is, you need to think about, okay, how can I be personally and professionally balanced on this journey if you don't want to burn out? And I burnt out. So that is why the dedication is what it is. And that's the essence of the Happy Hustle at its core.
I love your Happy Hustle. I love the programs that you've built out. It's amazing. You're an amazing human being. I mean, you're an entrepreneur, model, like author, all these things. But it wasn't always this way for you, right? Like you used to be, I listened somewhere a couple of weeks ago, something about a banana suit that you were wearing or something crazy. And maybe you went to prison and all these other things. So can you maybe give us like this brief, I know we're kind of short on time, but can you give us this brief overview of how you went from that person to this Happy Hustle guy?
I'm sitting here today with Ken Rusk, who has done hundreds of millions of dollars in business. He's also sold tens of thousands of books and changed countless lives. We're sitting here today because he is sponsoring today's episode. So Ken, tell everybody about your course.
Well, thank you. I built a course called The Path to a Successful Life. It's designed around trying to get somebody unstuck. Sometimes you're feeling like you're kind of stuck in where you are and you're not really sure what you want your life to look like or how to go about getting it. Well, for the cost of about dinner and a movie and maybe the time you'd spend on a weekend, you can exactly what you want your future to look like and how to go about getting it.
You know the power of vision. That's why you watch podcasts like this. So click the link below, get signed up, and let me know what your experience is like.
Yeah, well, I mean, everyone has a journey, right? Mine was no different. It's humbling in nature just to think about, all the random things I've done in exchange for money. But yes, I did wear a banana suit at a smoothie shop, not once, but twice. So I was that guy, like hawking smoothies in a legit banana outfit. I used to do things that were not legal and got caught for them and went to jail for them. I don't want to get into too much of that, but yeah, it's part of my story. Mainly it was distributing illegal items and also manufacturing fake currency. So I got into that whole game. And then I've also bartended. I've taken my clothes off for money. I've done a lot of things for money that I'm not proud of. But my main thing was always being an entrepreneur and just figuring it out and like doing business, whatever it was. And, one of the things that I learned on my journey was business without passion is a recipe for burnout. And I burnt out, as I mentioned, being a tech entrepreneur in New York City, actually, I built this algorithm with my brother and business partner and best friend. His name's Grant. It's all the same person. But we actually created this algorithm that quantified feedback. And long story short, we had, 7-figure VC funding deals on the table. We had partnerships with Microsoft and IBM and a lot of like potential, a 5-year exit at play. But dude, after 18 months of like churning and burning, 100+ hour weeks, less than typically 5 hours of sleep at night, like it caught up to me. I was so unfulfilled, so unhappy. I had like nothing that I was focused on in my life but work. My faith, my family, my fitness, my fun all went out the window. So after burning out legit and getting to that place of despair, my brother and I made the decision, a very difficult decision with tears in our eyes. We ripped up the paperwork and we said no to the funding, no to the partnership deals. And I moved to Bangkok, Thailand to figure out a better way to work and live in alignment, as I say. And that set me on the journey of becoming the happy hustler, and really just figuring out a better way to work and live in alignment. And fast forward, we got the book, the podcast, the events, and, now that's the mission.
Go ahead, Nick.
A lot there.
Yeah, so Kari, in the beginning of the book, you highlight the fact that 80% of entrepreneurs identify as burned out. And in today's hustle culture, we typically view that word hustle now as a bad thing, but you're giving us a different spin. So, why do you think that social media kind of like pushes unrealistic entrepreneurship ideals on us? And what are you doing and what are you communicating to kind of solve some of those things for us?
Well, entrepreneurship requires hustle in order to win. So like, that's why it's the happy hustle. It's not just the happy, like, let's be honest, it ain't going to work. If you want to be in business, you need to hustle. It's part of the game. But you can also do it in a way that puts joy in the everyday journey. And I know I'm full of cliches. I'm going to keep them coming. The fact is, our whole methodology pushes, I don't even like to say pushes, it pulls more so you into a way to work that keeps your attention distributed amongst 10 different areas of life. We call them the 10 alignments, in order to not become another statistic of burnout. And unfortunately, it's not just entrepreneurs who are burning out, it's employees too. And, as I mentioned in the book, studies show in Gallup's State of the Global Workplace study that 3 out of every 4 employees are actively disengaged and unhappy with what they do for work. So burnout's just a part of their trajectory if they keep that up. And so that's why we need to reframe that conversation of how to put the happy in your hustle.
I'm really curious about, you said business without passion is a recipe for burnout. So in your definition, what is passion and what does that mean and what does that entail?
Yeah. And again, like, I know they're cliche buzzwords, but they are for a reason. Passion to me is like that inward calling on your heartstrings, and then I think about purpose and I think about that like outward serving mission, right? And then I think about the positive impact that you want to have, which is like who you're actually impacting and why, so you put all that together. Like, passion could be something that pisses you off too. It could be like, shit, I'm pretty pissed off that the Amazon just getting decimated for, cattle and the big beef industry, you know what I mean? Which is happening. Like, that could be a passion of yours to solve that problem, right? So you can think about passion, but it's that inward calling on your heartstrings. It's either something that pisses you off majorly or something that you really want to dedicate yourself to. And without that, like, if money's the motive, Nick, you and I and Luke, I know you do too, know a ton of people who have a lot of money, but they don't got passion for what they do and they're unfulfilled as all get out, so that's why billionaires commit suicide on the regular, like, and millionaires, more so millionaires, because there's less of them, and it is what it is. It's just, it doesn't buy happiness, money, right? We're clear on that. At least not sustained happiness, right? It can buy you temporary joy per se. You get a new McLaren, sure, you might be stoked for the day, maybe longer. But the point is, it's not going to be sustained. And if you're looking to fill that void of joy through money, it's not the vehicle.
Yeah, I agree 1,000%. After we have a very similar network, Carrie, in a lot of ways, like you know, and after interviewing so many of these ultra high net worth individuals, you realize that if they're not healthy and they have bad relationships, they don't view themselves as a success, right? It's this holistic sense of success that's become more meaningful to me over time. So I'm curious, you burn out, you rip up all the papers, you move to Thailand to see if there's another way to do this thing. Like, what did you learn in Thailand, and how do they operate differently than how we operate over here in the West?
Well, have you been to Thailand, either of you guys?
No, I have not.
Okay, you got to go. They call it the land of the smiles, first of all. So Thailand is like chock full of happy people. But the truth is, there's a lot of poverty in Thailand. And what I realized is like, oh, this little kid is playing soccer with a ball made of garbage, but he is stoked, and the whole family is got so much joy and love and connection and community. And you just, when you travel, I feel like everyone has to travel. I know you both are travelers, but you really see life through different perspective, and you learn different cultures, meet different people, eat amazing, unique food. And I started to look at life in a different sense, especially coming from like the Manhattan, downtown New York, like grind culture, suit and tie, and like status, and then that whole like world of, first of all, Americans have it twisted in many regards of just what we deem to be important, largely due to society's norms, but when you travel, you get that perspective, and that's what happened to me. And I also learned that I could make money online. I had like a penthouse for like $400 and was eating like a king for like $2 a meal, and just living the dream, going to like Cambodia and Vietnam and Singapore and Bali for peanuts. So I just learned a different perspective, a way to just have fun, make money online. I was doing kind of like webinars on like goal setting and getting, just like basic stuff. But that was really the shift in my mind. Was like, whoa, A, I don't need that much to be super stoked with my reality, and B, there's another way to live that doesn't sacrifice your soul.
Why do you think it's so common, especially in the US, the West, to sacrifice your soul for money? Like, why do we have this ideal and chase that instead of chasing balance and happiness and joy and fulfillment?
I think it's our culture. I mean, we prioritize, the accolades and the accomplishments over being a great husband and father and community servant. It seems, this is just my speculation, but it just seems like that is what our culture as Americans, really emphasize. And that's what I was chasing. I mean, status, ego, money, success. And it wasn't until I had most of it was I realized this ain't it. It's not fulfilling. So that's what set me on this trajectory. And it's still, I want to be clear, like I'm very much still on my journey. Like I have goals and ambition, but they don't come at the cost of my everyday happiness. You know what I mean? And there's this thing I talk about in the book called the more disease, and I feel like it's infected Americans in a lot of our Western culture. It's literally like a disease. Like we want more money, more followers, more clients, more social media likes, more stuff, and it's like, when is enough is enough? When can we exercise the power of contentment? And Dan Sullivan, strategic coach, I don't know if either of you know him, he talks about, when you measure yourself forwards against this invisible yet ever changing goalpost, you will constantly be unfulfilled, unhappy. But when you measure yourself backwards against where you started, you can find joy and gratitude and contentment readily available.
Yeah, I love that, man. The gap and the gain, right? I actually just
Yeah.
signed up for a strategic coach.
Oh, did you?
And
Heck yeah.
yeah, so I'm excited to go through that process.
Nice.
Um, yeah, what strikes me as interesting about your story, Carrie, is like you found happiness by subtraction, not through addition in a way.
Mm.
It's like you started to remove all of these expectations. You started to remove the ego. You started to remove like the desire for more, 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 more. And that's a subtractive act. You're removing. And then what's left is like this blissful balance that you talk about. So I really find that interesting. And I also, you were chasing what some people think is like the ideal guy is rich and modeling and doing all this crazy stuff and making all this crazy money. But what I view you as now is like an idealistic version of what a male represents, like a great dad, a
Mm.
continuous learner, somebody who's out in the wilderness and has the beard and
Right.
like you have the good family life and like all of that, you know, in a way is so much more powerful than that New York City, Manhattan, you know, money dude just hustling 24/7 with an algorithm. And so, yeah, it just seems more holistic and it seems like you're definitely a lot happier.
Yeah, and let me again just keep it real. I got plenty of shit that every day that I go through. I
We all
mean,
do. Yeah.
yeah, we all got our things. Like I never claim to be the guru in anything. I'm just the reporter of, hey, this is what's working for me, and it's also working for our community. Like we have the Happy Hustle Club of high performing, badass, heart centered entrepreneurs, and it's like when they implement the 10 alignments that I talk about in the book, like, dude, it blows my mind the changes that are. It's like it actually works. You will increase your everyday joy if you just focus on the system, and it's not rocket science. Like none of my stuff that I talk about is, and I'll be the first one to tell you, it's a lot of recycled personal development stuff and a little bit of my sprinkled IP and some cheesy one liners. But like at the end of the day, we're not talking rocket science here. We're just talking about getting back to homeostasis, balance, will you?
Exactly. Yeah, you're getting back to the basics. And by the way, all the recycled personal development stuff, we need it presented in every different way that we can get it because one day it will hit differently. You talk about eudaimonia in the beginning of the book, Aristotle's concept, and I have that tattooed on my shoulder, so I really
Heck yeah.
resonate with it. You know, part of this holistic happiness, and you highlight it in the book as one of the alignments, is optimized health. Can you talk a
Mm.
little bit about why you think it's so important and why it's kind of front loaded in the first half of your alignments there?
Well, I mean, we all know when you're sick, like nothing else matters. It's just priority numero uno, get better. You know what I mean? And if you don't have your health in check, you won't be able to happy hustle in any other alignment. So that's why, it's important. I used to run a biohacking company. After I closed my tech company, I partnered with my buddy on this biohacking company, and it was a nice mid seven figure business. We did about 67,000 copies of our free plus shipping book through this funnel, and we had a back end 25K, 50K group coaching program. And Russell Brunson was a client, and JLD, and a bunch of Olympic gold medalists and UFC fighters. And I got to see what the top 1% of people do with their health. And we were doing vitamin and mineral deficiency analyses and environmental genetic mismatches, and figuring out the toxins and in people's blood work. And what I realized is a lot of people overcomplicate health. They really do. It's This is not PC, but it's just put less shit in your pie hole. Like focus on not shoving Twinkies down there, and just move that ass. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
We're
You do
definitely
those two.
clipping that for Instagram.
Okay. Well, just saying, like you do those two things, you'll be pretty all right. Now there's levels to the game, but like most people overcomplicate it, and you guys probably could agree.
Yeah, 100%. It's really interesting. We talk about this like health is like the main pillar, right? I had a little bit of a headache today and I realized like I haven't had a headache in a long time. And then all of a sudden I go to work out and my workout is suffering just a little bit. It's insane how much those little things can affect you. And what's crazier is that there are so many people, even like family and relatives that I have that are living this life and they're very unhealthy and they're wondering, oh man, why don't I feel good? Why aren't I happy? They're depressed. They all have all these issues. Like, well, just start with your health. Start with getting that thing right, and everything else will follow. So I understand why it's so, so important to start there. Now, I also want to ask, and I'm curious, like your take on somebody who is in the thick of it, in the thick of the hustle, and they're just not feeling fulfilled. What, in your opinion, like what are the first steps they can start to take today to get themselves to that more of that balanced, happier, joyful, more fulfilled, hustling life?
All right. If you guys are brave, I'm going to put you through the assessment live on the air.
Ooh, that'd be awesome.
Nick, have you ever done this assessment?
No.
Okay. And Luke, I don't think you have either. And everyone listening and watching, if you want to get real value, be an active participant here. I'm going to ask you 10 simple questions. You're going to rank yourself 1 to 5. 5 is like an A, you're crushing it. 1 is like an F, you're failing. Okay, I wasn't much for school, but I do know the grading scale, right? So you kind of subsequently 2, 3, and 4, you can figure it out. But I want you guys to take notes, and we're going to tally up your scores at the end. So this is the first step, Luke, just to answer your question. In order to grow, you need to know. So I want to know your guys' scores. And everyone listening and watching, I'm telling you, please, whether you're on the dang treadmill, you're driving, whatever, be safe if you're driving, but take notes on these 10 different scores. This is the whole premise of the Happy Hustle, our 10 alignments. Okay. You guys game?
Game.
Definitely.
All right. First question. This is our soul mapping framework. This is your soul's map to the blissfully balanced promised land, right? And so we'll go through each of those different letters. It's an acronym. The S stands for selfless service. So give yourself a score 1 to 5 in selfless service. And I want you to just think about the last 30 days, not, hey, I volunteered in high school for Key Club and, whatever like that. No, it doesn't count. It's too far out. We're just trying to get a real life take of where you're at in your happy hustle journey in the last 30 days. So 1 to 5, selfless service. How much have you been volunteering lately? We have an acronym within an acronym. I know, super meta. It's GIFT, give, insight, finances, and time. So are you giving your insight, your finances, and your time? Selfless service, like that's what it's about at the core. You'll feel so much happier when you do, but give yourself a score right now. And we'll recap at the end. All right, gentlemen. Yeah. Okay. O stands for optimize health, 1 to 5. Where are you at? 5's you're crushing it. It's like, you're feeling mentally, physically, emotionally optimized. 1 is not so much, failing, right? Okay. That's pretty clear. You unplug digitally. Yes, this is a part of it because more and more we are becoming inundated with technology. Are you mitigating your device exposure, creating barriers, not constantly on podcasts, watching Netflix, texting, like you're like actually having unplugging, blocks where you're literally just not getting flooded with dopamine and, worried about the next, scroll, right? And it's tough. Don't get me wrong. We are outgunned. Our mammalian brain by the tech nerds in Silicon Valley they got us, guys. You know how tough it is to put down the scroll. I get it, but we got to in order to enhance our happiness. So give yourself a score, unplug digitally, 1 to 5. L, loving relationships. Okay. How much love do you have in your life, in your inner circle? Your significant other, your inner circle of family, and then your closest friends. Like, that's at its core. What's life all about if you don't have that love? But give yourself a score, 1 to 5 in the last 30 days. Okay. Everyone should have 4 scores right now. You guys have 4 scores?
Yes.
Okay. Now we're getting into the mapping part. So mindful spirituality, I don't really care what you believe in, one, God or another. I just think it's important to have faith in something bigger than yourself, right? I consider myself a spiritual seeker. My dad's technically Catholic, my mom's Jewish, but I'm a religious mutt, but I pray every day, and I'm very spiritual, not religious. But give yourself a score. How connected to a higher power do you feel in that mindful spirituality? 1 to 5. A, abundance financially. People think this is the most important one, and once I have it, I'll be happy, but it's not true. But you do need to have it in order to be a happy hustler. And I look at it as, okay, do I have a system to save, invest, and spend wisely, right? That and really at its core, talking about Tony Robbins, right? Can I do what I want with who I want, when I want, as much as I want, right? Give yourself a score 1 to 5 in the last 30 days in terms of abundance financially. And the first P, personal development. You guys are, avid readers, and I'm sure everyone listening to this is big into personal development. So hopefully your scores are high here, but 1 to 5, are you either growing and evolving, or you're shrinking and dissolving, right? Those are the options. And the second P, this one I find most high performers lacking, and that is passionate hobbies, right? Like actually doing fun stuff for yourself. And yeah, sometimes you're going to have to pay for it. Oh my God. And there won't be ROI directly. And it's going to be, what? You got to take up your calendar spot. I get it. It's tough. But like today, I got my men's league soccer game. We were champions 2 years ago, and we lost the championship last year. So we got a vengeance this year, so I'm looking forward to it. All right. But you got to have passionate hobbies a part of the picture if you really want to be a happy hustler. Okay. So give yourself a score 1 to 5 in terms of actually doing fun stuff for yourself. And impactful work. Okay. Impactful work. Like, again, talking about passion, purpose, and positive impact. Where are you at? Are you feeling disengaged and unhappy like 3 out of 4 employees are, or, close to burnout like 80% of entrepreneurs are? Or do you feel like you guys are working in alignment with your higher calling right now? And I feel like you two are, but I'm asking everyone else, like, give yourself a realistic, score there. And then nature connection, like how often are you actually getting outside with this beautiful planet, and like, oh, by the way, protecting it, like voting with your dollar, being a conscious consumer, supporting B corporations that have sustainable supply chains. Like that's a part of nature connection. It's not just, oh, I went for a walk in the park. It's like, no, I made a switch. I'm not, being irresponsible with my purchases, supporting companies that, are not ethically sustainable. And so this is a part of it. So those are the 10 different alignments of being a happy hustler, our soul mapping framework. And thank you for letting me hijack the interview, gentlemen, and put you through that assessment real quick. But I do want to hear your scores. If you're feeling brave, why don't we just kind of rattle them off? You guys can just go through. Selfless service, where'd you land?
I was a 2.
Okay. Luke?
4.
4. Okay. Optimize health.
5.
3.
I believe it. Nick's shredded. All right. You unplug digitally.
2.
2.
Oh, yeah, I know it's tough. L, loving relationships.
5.
4.
Love it. All right. Mindful spirituality.
4.
3.
Okay. Abundance financially.
3.
Same. 3.
Nice. Personal development.
5.
Nice.
4.
Passionate hobbies.
5.
Oh, there we
Yeah.
go.
I've got that one down.
Nice.
3.
Okay. Impactful work.
5. I feel aligned.
Yeah.
Yeah. 4.
And then nature connection.
2. Got a lot of work to do there.
4.
Maybe a 1.
Oh, okay. All right. So now everyone listening, tally up your scores. And gentlemen, please do the same. If you are a 40 or above, congratulations, you're happy hustling. If you're 39 or below, unfortunately, got some work to do.
I was 38.
Oh,
So I've got a couple of glaring ones that I could bring up pretty quickly. So I think I'm pretty close.
30.
yeah. 30. All right, Luke, we got some work to
Got
do.
some work to do.
So, and here's the truth, guys. This is just a baseline. But again, in order to grow, you need to know. This is the old saying, what you measure, you manage, right? Like, this is why we measure it. And I take my own medicine. I do this assessment every Sunday on the week prior. So there's a shorter feedback loop. And then on Monday, I know, hey, I was low in self-service, or hey, my love and relationships, or hey, my, optimize health. That way I can pivot on the fly, and I can understand, hey, this is just what needs to happen in order to get back to that, systematic harmonization that we talk about. Right. And another just really key principle of happy hustling that I want to share with both you gentlemen and everyone listening is you must focus on one of these alignments at a time, but give equal importance to all of them, right? So focus on one at a time, but give equal importance to each of them. And see, what I find is most people, when they're at work, they're thinking about their family, and when they're with their family, they're thinking about work. They're not focused, in the moment present. They're just kind of going through the motions. So like, When I'm with Luke and Nick, I'm 100% here, rocking the mic. And then when I'm at soccer tonight with the guys, I'm getting after it. You know what I mean? When I'm in the backcountry wilderness fly fishing, that's all I'm doing. And it's a constant practice, mind you, again. But that's the goal, is to be fully present, immersed in your thing that you're doing at any given moment. And that's how you put the happy in your hustle.
I love it, man. This has been an amazing conversation. I'm so happy that we were introduced earlier this year and that I'm starting to get more and more involved in your world. And yeah, I owe you a phone call sometime later this week. We can catch up a little bit. But for those that want a copy of your book, they're like, this is right up my alley. I have some work to do. I'm 39 and below on the assessment. Where should people go and how should they get a copy of your book?
Yeah, well, thehappyhustle.com/book. If you want to pick up a copy of it, we actually are still doing our pre-order launch. I don't know at the time of this recording, depending on when you're listening, but go to thehappyhustle.com/book and see. And if we are still doing the pre-order launch, you get over $350 worth of bonuses. We got master classes. We got a workbook that parlays with it. There's a blissful balancer, which Luke, I don't know if you got one. Nick, did you get that whiteboard fridge magnet by chance? You did?
Yes, I did. I don't think Luke has one though.
Think so.
He disappeared for a second there.
Oh,
Yeah,
I was
just
saying,
for a
yes,
second,
I have
but-
one. I don't think Luke has one.
No.
Okay. Well, Luke, send me your address. I'll get the team to send it out. But the point is, there's like a magnet that I'd like to put on my fridge that's analog, that just has the 10 alignments and 10 different action tasks that you can do, and you keep track of your balance in real time every day. And so that really is how you can implement this stuff into your everyday reality and actually, like keep track of where you're at. So that's all at thehappyhustle.com/book. And, you can also, shameless plug, check out Nick on the Happy Hustle podcast too, because he rocked the mic and it was a phenomenal episode. So anyway, there you go. That's how you can learn more.
Amazing, amazing. Nick, before I ask my last question, do you have anything else?
No, listen, it's been a blast. I have a hard stop in 1 minute. But dude, so good catching up. And Luke, feel free to ask your question. If I got to pop out, I got to pop out.
Sounds good. All right, Kari, I love to ask everyone who comes on our show this question, and it's this. You pass away, all the courses, the books, the assessments, everything disappears, but you can leave the world with a single piece of advice. Hard to do. What would it be?
Oh, man. Oh, that's a good one. The world, a single piece of advice. I mean, it's got to be the definition of happy hustling. And it's more of like a call to arms. It's systematically harmonize ambition and well-being. That's really what it is. And I feel like if you do that, you will be happy hustling, a life that you love.
Amen. I agree. Well, Kari, this has been awesome. Thank you so much. It's been great talking to you today. Can't wait to get this one out to our people.
Thank you, gentlemen, and appreciate all you guys. Peace and love, everyone.